and welcome to the Leftovers podcast. I am your host, as I like to say, Sean. Matt, the other Matt. I just noticed that Matt. Matt, the demoted. Other Matt, not the one true Matt, not the Mattatron or whatever you keep
Matt
calling
Prime.
him. Yes, is my co-host is joining me, and we have Nathan, our distinguished super host, as I like to call him, which is in his title. And tonight we have the luxury of having, excuse me, Mage Hand 5
allergies.
Yeah, allergies. Mage Hand High Five on, and we have a member of that, Max of Mage Hand 5. Say hello, Max.
Hey everybody, I'm Max. I'm a member of the Actual Play podcast, Mage Hand High Five. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Man, I'm just screwing up all sorts of
You
things.
smell
tonight.
toast.
We can start it. We can start again.
Let's restart over.
The corner of your mouth is kind of
on.
sagging.
Hold the intro.
Here, hold on, Sean. Ready?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leftovers Podcast. I just had my EpiPen shot, and I'm fine. So we have Howdy Darcy. I'm going to say this. This is my brother Matt and my other brother Matt. I just want to put that out there.
That's a deep cut there.
That is a deep cut. Anyway, so tonight I have to immediately. I want to apologize to my guests because we got to immediately jump into Matt in the PowerPoint because he can't stay with us. So Matt, go ahead and go over everything.
All right, thanks everybody. Hey, just so taking a look at our schedule for the month so far, we're filling up the days. Next week, so just to let you all know, we're taking a day off next Tuesday. We will not have a live game. We're going to do some circling the wagons and planning for our next story. On the 10th, though, the following Thursday, we're going to have our very own Kupo and I think maybe another guest to talk about Magic Hour.
Yes,
a sort of horror, romance, sci-fi, kind of
end
of the world,
apocalypse. Yes,
apocalypse.
It's a Magic Hour. It's on Amazon, and it's a sort of drama comedy created by Alan Matz, who's going to be here with Anthony, who worked on it with him, and we're going to talk about that and some other things.
Anthony was the producer. The other guy
was
the director,
the writer,
so
right?
And we don't get to see Anthony.
He was the fucking producer.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to give him that credit, Nathan. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
No, and then following that on the 15th, we will be back with AARPG Live, starting our new. We're going to go retro. We're going to play Top Secret. We have a guest GM, Matt or Matt Prime now, as I'm now secondary map.
Matt of us.
And then who knows what we're going to do for the rest of the month. We'll figure it out. We'll wing it like we've been doing for the last few months.
Right.
What?
That is what we're
he's going to be running Top Secret for weeks.
Well, I just put the 15th when we're kicking off.
Okay.
We'll fill that.
The 17th and 24th is the leftovers. So
hold on.
And the 17th we might have
Nathan to be upset.
You see, Nathan, this is why we don't let you on the interview. You're so technical.
This is why I don't come to the interviews, because I'm going to be disappointed.
There,
no,
more for Nathan.
You have a nice flow here.
There you go. Are you happy?
You should add something else, And there's
so Magic Hour, right? It's on Prime Video. So if you want to check it out between now and the interview, just to let you know, Nathan's doing editing for the next episode. But if you haven't caught it, episode 28 is our most recent episode we just released for our Dragonbane. And if you love the characters and you want to show it, you can head over to our website and pick up some awesome original artwork, which I just received an email today, very topical, from our providers, saying that so far no effect to prices yet due to tariffs. So we'll see how that goes. So get your shirts now while they're still $17, right?
We didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
No. It's very interesting. I normally just show the adequate merch off, Sean, but I literally received an email today.
So
and then the last thing, I think I mentioned at the live show, but I wanted to show the picture. It was a gentleman, and of course, I'm not going to remember his name right now, but he did a mod for Starfield that had hats, and he put the logos of different Starfield mod creators into a mod as like a thank you. And so it's very hard to see, but we now have, and there's, if you go out and get his mod, you can get an AARPG logo hat in Starfield if you really want that. But now I'm thinking about going in there and figuring out how I can make like t-shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah, we haven't won any awards, but we are a mod. So I'm very
That's right. We're a mod.
I mean,
So
that's pretty cool.
It is
No, it's
cool.
really great. I wish I could. The guy's name. Just give a second here. I'm gonna turn on this off so I don't like accidentally put up my personal information.
We're an improv gaming news show this hour.
Yeah, this is not very scripted.
Let's make up a name, Matt. What's the name? Let's say Larry.
Joe 735 did the
Joe
did the awesome.
735.
That's not his name, but it was really cool. You can go out there if you look up, if you're in that community, you can find it.
Thorgren says X2357. That could be a real name. I don't know. I mean, is it one of Elon's kids?
I don't know about that.
That sounds like something from a movie. That's right.
It's Thorgen Ironside 5279 is the one who did it. See, that's sounds. There you go, right there.
Yeah,
that's That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's why.
Yeah, so thank you for including us. That's it. I
thought,
senior
Matt, you
moment.
picked up on that.
Can't talk. I
Nathan
can't
said
remember
it.
anybody's name.
No, I'm telling you, but I thought that's okay. All right, hey Matt, why don't you go take a nap?
I am. Let me go take a nap. All right, bye everybody. Hey,
bye.
Max, thanks for being on.
Yeah.
All right, and welcome everyone. Now that we've gotten over my stroke and Matt's stroke, Nathan's still doing okay. We're going to get into this cool podcast.
Clear the banner. Clear the banner. Drive me crazy.
Which banner? Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Nathan hates this. Nathan hates it when I put stuff up and leave it. Because right now he doesn't have editing rights, so I can just keep doing this. So, by the way, here's MagicHigh5.com. That's their website. It has all the links to where you can listen to their podcast. This is MageHand5.com. They have their own Patreon, which is something we
$5 get you stuff.
Yeah, $5. It's
Get our talk behind the scenes talkback show where we give our best and worst blunt rotations and worst fan fiction hookups of our characters.
Nice.
That's awesome. What we want to hear, the smut. Go.
Yeah, $5.
God, no.
That's
Jesus.
We got to cut some of it out.
Did they commission art for that, or
You're welcome to.
And Ty, yes. We know some artists from our show. I mean, so then there's the AARPG.com/cast. That's for us. Like, follow, and subscribe. Both. Enjoy. And thanks for enjoying the banter. Anyway, and I could leave that banner up, but I won't. Anyway, so let me get into it. So first, I want to ask you, Max, to tell me. So you obviously play games. So when did you start getting into the TTRPG? What type of game system was it? How old were you, basically?
Yeah, I think
somebody.
In the general scheme of things, actually, before we start, I want to just get into my jersey for the AARPG.
Oh, yeah, sure.
My world's best grandpa ever.
oh, there you go.
It felt appropriate to wear tonight. But no,
Yeah, I'm not a. None of us
I don't
are
think any of
grandpas.
us are grandpa yet, but.
Oh no, Chris technically.
Oh, Chris is. That's right. Chris is a grandpa or Lego head.
or grandma or whatever.
2 years ago, so I was in the supermarket, and the person behind the deli asked me if I was actually a grandpa, which at the time I was 30. So I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Depending on where you live, it is possible.
Yeah.
You can be your own grandpa. There's a song about it.
But yeah, no, I started playing I started kind of getting it on my radar from Dimension 20 before Dropout was a thing. It was when I started. So about 2018, 2019, when it was still on YouTube, that first season, I was in grad school, and I just kind of fell in love with it there. And then once we finished it, some of me and my friends over the pandemic started playing. And then we're all, and so yeah, so I'm most familiar with D&D 5e, is what I've played by far the most, and what we play on Mage Hand High 5 for our campaign. And there was a pandemic going on, so we're all a bunch of actors. There was no theater going on, and so we decided to make an actual play podcast to, fill the creative void in our lives.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because it's funny. Brendan Lee Mulligan and they popped up on Fantasy High, and I was working at the time. I was pandemic's going on, and I was in an office comp, but I was in law enforcement, so obviously I'm still going to work every day. So. And I was in more of an administrative role, compliance role. So I would play that in the background. I saw it, and I played it, and I was dying. And then I got his background. Yeah, they do really, because a lot of them, not all of them, like you got Emily Axford and Brian, they had their own show, First Date. No, was it First Date? Yes. And but there you had all this, and like we were looking at it, and we were obviously not actors. Painfully obvious on that. Malcolm could be. Malcolm's Elephant, I think. But the rest
of doing it. It's a muscle.
Yeah. So you guys, getting into that, taking that leap I thought it was a very brilliant move. And at the time, it was like a really just starting to blow up.
Critical Role was.
Yeah, Critical Role. So you did that. But the next question I would have would be, did you guys immediately go online with it and just do it like them to say, okay, we're just going to go live and record something and put it out to the world? Or did you take time to build up your styles?
We kind of, I was running the home game at the time when we kind of made the decision to do it, but because I'm kind of a low prep DM, it was, we as a group and me as the forefront of it said that's probably not the best choice for a long form.
Oh, no, Nathan is that person.
Yeah.
Well, so it can work.
What's prep? No.
And like continuity of lore is not always my strong suit, but yeah, Casey had this idea for kind of this fantasy Western world. Dark Tower is a series he loves, and
Stephen King.
Yeah, on the Badlands, and he just kind of pitched it to us as a group, and we went from there. And we recorded our first episode a couple times, as anyone who wants to make an actual play should do. And Rowan learned editing on the fly, as did I, and we kind of just went from there and learned as we go.
Well, that's really interesting because it's off camera. And I can't put it up there, but I have a picture of Roland in the Dark Tower over here. Somebody did an artist rendition because I love that series so much. I remember reading it.
I really want to read it, but like the fact I looked at the page numbers and they just went from 350 to 500 to 700 to 900, and I went, I don't have time for that.
Well, you read the first book, then you just do it in stages. That's what I tell people. Like, or you go on vacation and and use it for a rainy day or a train ride, right? But it's a good series. If anybody wants to listen to it on audiobook or read it on this little plug for Stephen King book. It's the Dark Tower series, and it literally starts with the book Dark
Stephen
Tower.
King is he somebody I should have heard of before? Or?
No. He's just some old dude who lives in Maine.
One of our jokes that we have on our talk back is anytime we talk about someone like Stephen King, we say like friend of the pod, Stephen King. So our friends list is currently massive. It's V.E. Schwab, author V.E. Schwab, Mark Cuban are the ones that come back a lot. But
yeah, those are good friends to have. It's good.
Yeah, totally.
So your podcast is you have your game, your Western game. You just apparently started doing interviews because you got two, right?
Yeah, so we have two. About a year ago, almost to the date, we sat down with Imp Games designer Evan Noon, who at the time had just released a Western kind of modular for 5e, an adventure that was really cool. So we kind of talked about that and what with Casey, what kind of comes into bringing the Western genre into kind of like tabletop gaming. I don't watch a lot of movies, so I wasn't too helpful in that conversation. But then the next one, which we just released this past Wednesday, actually, was I talked with Kendo from, Tales Yet Told, because they posted on Blue Sky a few months ago the question, which do you prefer, an actual play that's more produced or more like a home game? And I just sat with that and thought about it for a really long time until I asked them, say, hey, you want to come on and talk about it? And they did, and it's now out in the world.
I'm pretty sure I responded to that, but I listened to that this evening, and just I was kind of messaging Max earlier because this is because we're in kind of a weird spot because we're definitely in that friends around the table type style for the performance, if you want to call it that. But then we just do so much stuff afterwards. I do so much stuff afterwards that changes it. But it's really, So it made me think a lot. So there's like definitely some. You talked about Tailed Manticore 2, which is which is I think a really kind of interesting. I think we're not in any one of those. We're on the spectrum, but we don't have like a good solid mold that we fit into. And Tailed Manticore is really far outside that because it's solo. Two, you get all the rules, plus you get amazing production on top of that, and some guest voice actors for it's a solo play. So it's really unique. Like I used to think.
Laura said what I was thinking.
Yeah, not been officially verified, but maybe. But yeah, so that's my wife, by the way. So I think that's like even more different than like Dark Dice. Dark Dice is still an actual play, but most of it is like re-recorded with actors, which I think is like technically you can still call it an actual play, but it's really there's a lot of ways you can make actual play that don't fit into like either like a Critical Role or five guys sitting around a blue Yeti.
Yeah, there's a group that we met at PAX Unplugged, actually, Dice Tower Theater, that apparently plays a 4th edition D&D game and then takes the story, edits it, and just makes it like an audio drama. So then there's the where does that fall under the spectrum move?
Kind of what Dark Dice does.
Yeah,
kind of what Dark Dice does.
I got Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, they had him on as the villain. But yeah, Dark Dice is. I think I agree with you guys. They do roll it out, but then they sort of, in my opinion, they just sort of script it a little bit, a little better to make it go with the story. And these very good, very very well quality stuff. And Tales of the Manticore is like, he uses the dice to make the story, then he makes the story. And which when we interviewed him, I thought was amazing. Just an amazing take on it. Versus us, sitting around, thank God we have Nathan for freaking sound.
Because we don't do retakes or anything like that.
No.
It's just all, if somebody messes up their recording, then I go in and I do my best to polish that turd, and it is what it is at the end. Because so we're kind of reined in by what everybody's capacity is to help out and the format, But I just want to say I listened to not a lot of your podcasts, but I like listening to the first one. I like listening to the last one, and even like from the first get-go, it was pretty good. And you did one of the things that is usually like a pet peeve of mine with folks starting out is you got your loudness good.
I'll definitely let Rowan know.
If you know what that, do you know what I'm talking about? Lufs, L-U-F-S.
No.
Okay,
but I will let Rowan know.
Thank God you don't. We'll be talking about that for an hour.
So for you listeners out there, if you've ever listened to a podcast while you're driving, no, this is helpful for people when you're driving on the highway and it's super loud, like the cars and everything. And if you have to sit there and play with the volume on a podcast, so you can like hear, like some people are too loud, some people are too soft, or you have to crank up the volume all the way just to hear anything, then the loudness is poorly done. With us and with Mage Hand High Five, you don't have to worry about it because it's loud, it's consistent. You can hear everybody, even on if you have shitty headphones on an airplane, you'll be able to hear it. So technically, it's like you wouldn't know that, and nobody ever grades that or for award shows, but for
Nathan
listeners.
does. But Nathan does.
Yeah, I ran it through my little analyzer too.
Yeah, so
it's good.
if you want an example, we'll put this to bed with this. If you want a good example of that, listen to our first Alien show, and then listen to one of our most recent shows to see how far we've progressed as amateurs. Well, I'd say Nathan is pretty good, very good at his craft right now. We've gotten better understanding the volume.
The recording part, yeah.
Yes, the recording part at least, because we screwed that up immensely. But you'll hear some of our episodes where you can barely hear. It's like, take the dice, and then some of us, hey, I take the dice, and Nathan would lecture us the next night, which we need.
Well, yeah, and they still, except for Sean's good, but they still don't get close enough to the mic. Sometimes Sean gets too close, but
we're up. Go ahead.
But I can hear you guys. You guys, for like the last episode, you sound like you're all like right up on the mic, and you can barely hear the room. These are all like pet peeves. I have a lot of issues.
But anyway, Nathan, let's put your.
And I had nothing to complain about.
I will say
with your last episode.
So Nathan, the reason I got better is because of Nathan. Nathan actually gave me advice on a mic and stuff. And you guys are more technical, so you probably already knew what the better mics to get. I'm sure. I'm going to give you credit for that.
I've got my Rhodes NT1A is what I use because I'm also a singer, so I'll use it if I ever need to record some of that.
You are a man about town. I will say that. I would like to say. But I wish I could sing. I could sing 80s.
It's also just a muscle. I mean, it's just a muscle I've been using for 25 years. So
yeah, I used to have a pretty decent voice. Sidebar: I sung in an opera when I was a kid, and part of it. Then I went in the Marine Corps, and I just screamed it out of me, and I just never tried to get it back. And I could get it back. I'm just lazy. A wide variations of AP styles makes a really diverse type of media. Wow, that's good to have. Thank you. We have got this one, and it all works out. I forgot what it's called. Nathan told me to buy it. It works great. To Shure, yes.
Is it 58? No.
Yes, that's it. I got the higher one. I got the slightly nicer
58
one.
Or something else.
57 plus something.
No,
something like that. Yeah.
It was beta 57 or beta 58 or something.
Yeah, I got the one slightly better just because I figured to make Nathan proud of me for once. So anyway, let's get back into it. So when you guys started, what were you think were the challenges you faced when you first started podcasting your games? Because you guys obviously, let me put this up real quick. I want to share something to screen. And this is their website, and it literally says from Seattle to New York City. And if you know the time difference, folks, that's a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, it is a bit tricky finding a time to record because I'm in Massachusetts, and then we got New York, Texas, and Seattle. So finding a time that works was a bit of a struggle. But I think the biggest thing I think is kind of what we wanted to do in a sense, because we were learning. We had never really been a part of it. We weren't part of the TTRPG space at all. We were all just a bunch of performers who liked playing, and that's all our faces.
I told you I'd put you guys
headshots.
Yeah, we have terrible headshots. We're good.
Those were, or mine was expensive.
But But you're an actor. You must.
Yeah,
have a beautiful headshot.
it's a professional. I got it for grad school. But just kind of getting everyone on the same page, because we all came from such different backgrounds and really hadn't been friends super long. I knew Rowan from grad school.
Mm-hmm.
I met Casey about a year before through my girlfriend. I met him, and so we had known each other for about a year before we started recording. And then Robin was kind of catfished in, because Rowan, Casey, and myself were like, we're going to do this, but we knew we needed a third person or a fourth person. And Rowan was like, I played with this person. Let me go find out. And didn't tell them we were looking to do a podcast. Just invited them to play a one shot. Didn't tell me and Casey.
Perfect.
So me and Casey were all just talking about this podcast, and Robin was just going along with it because they were like, I could do that.
That's funny.
And just kind of also like the hardest part is kind of still to this day is navigating the difference in personalities and play styles and finding ways to make sure that we're all that we're all doing what we want to do and how we want to do it, and that's kind of an effort long journey.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here. This is my favorite thing.
Do not make me sing. I will not sing.
So we'll start with the other folks and end with you. If you could kind of briefly summarize each person's play style, I think that would be fun. So start with Robin.
Robin,
I have a clip of Robin.
You got a clip of us all.
I got a clip of Robin. It's a short you guys made. It's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you describe it, and I'll put it up.
Well, which clip did you pick?
No, it's about me playing with myself as a kid clip.
Okay.
That's one where he's got. I should just
do my thing first, and then you do your thing. So.
That's my show.
No.
Robin. Robin, I think really, from what we've played so far, really kind of hits the middle of kind of the like taking big comedic swings, but also taking the big kind of dramatic turns, and kind of Hayden in particular fluctuates from kind of being this goofy, quirky character to kind of having this for lack of a better term, like this dramatic backstory, while not falling into the trope of kind of orphan edgelord is what. And they do that really well. Rowan is the glue of our podcast, and I hope they're not watching.
With that pop shirt and the necklace, I'm like, look at this stunning, charismatic person just sharing their life with us. I can see it.
So Rowan's the glue. What do you mean by the glue?
Rowan is the editor, so they're listening to everything and kind of giving the best feedback on kind of ways that we can structure things out, like as a reflective, after hearing what we've already done, as opposed to kind of everyone else can do it in the moment and kind of give feedback, because they're the one that's editing the main story, as well as just like Salome, the character that they play, is just kind of like the heart of our group a little bit, as
the conscience, would you say, or heart?
The conscience. Yeah, absolutely.
There is a difference, folks. Slight difference.
Yeah. Casey's our DM, and
he looks like a DM. He does. He has that DM look, a devious DM, something behind the eyes. And I'm not even joking. I'm like, yeah, I can see it.
He's just given us this amazing world to play in that, like, it's just been so fun to play in the Badlands that every there are twists and turns. You get the I know what that's going to happen. I think I know what that tease is, and then it's like 4 weeks until we record the next time, and so someone has to just sit on their thought of what the tease was. There are he's pulling back callbacks from like 15 episodes ago.
Oh, that's good.
Able to pivot on a dime. Like there was I guess spoilers, kind of. there was a moment that he set up something for one of the characters to get kidnapped, and it was set up that way. And due to something we as the players did, caused a completely different character to get kidnapped, thinking that they were the first character. And so Casey on the fly was like, okay, we're gonna figure, like, there was a disguise involved, and was able to pull that out really well.
Awesome.
That's incredible. That's incredible because the game masters, we've that's one of the conversations when the party's supposed to go right and you take a hard left. Like, how do you, I'm interested to see how Casey, if he was here now, he would have his thought process, what he would have done with that.
So does that mean that you're the chaos monkey? Because
100%. Someone on one of
you and Nathan are kinship. Yeah.
Someone put it really, I think really well, is the idiot savant.
That's perfect. There we go.
So we have some like YouTube shorts and from TikTok that we uploaded, and I forget which one it was, but we were trying to figure out who a sending stone was connected to. So basically, like sending stones can connect to one person has one end, the other one has the other. Mm-hmm. And we were trying to figure out who was on the other end. And I suggested that we fart into it, which would then get a reaction of, huh? And then Salome, which is Rowan's character, would be able to understand who was on the other line from saying, who is this? And you go, sorry, I farted. And you got to have that question back and forth. And then Rowan luckily rolled a nat 20 to determine who was on the other line. And awesome. It works. So that's the kind of stuff that I kind of
that is podcast gold. All right, yeah. That sort of stuff.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
To continue to pat myself on the back, the thing I do think I do really well though is I make big crazy swings like that, I keep them to move the story forward. Mm-hmm. Trying to not just make a bit for the sake of a bit. Be like, we got to find out who's on the other side of the stone. We got to, the story's got to keep moving forward though.
Yeah. When the other jerks are too busy talking about, what do we do? What do we do? Somebody's got to shut up Leroy Jenkins. And go...
Nathan, don't use this as an excuse for your multiple characters' actions. I don't want to hear it. I don't hear it.
I feel justified. Thanks, Max.
You are not.
I'm going to clip this recording and
no.
everybody.
We should replay that. We should replay you and your echoes and
all of my characters.
Yeah.
I always play morons. I really.
No, not always. Not always.
I love playing low charisma characters.
Mm. There's a charm to that, not having to charm somebody.
Yeah, I love it.
So I'm just going to copy. If you go to the site, here's the Badlands campaign. And actually, you didn't say the Fallout games, like Stephen King's Dark Tower, the Fallout games, which is pretty cool. I'm probably going to listen to that when I drive in tomorrow.
Yeah, at some point, whether you want to do your clip thing, Sean, but I want to hear what the whole story is about, the Badlands story.
Okay, let me do this clip real quick.
It's not like a standard D&D thing.
It's just, I find it amusing, so I'm going to share this because this is what I do.
Steven, what are you doing in there?
Drugs.
That is, I just thought it was so funny. I just had to. And damn, I lost it. But anyway, please fill us in on the Badlands as I.
Yeah, God, how do you? So the Badlands is a fantasy western. It's inspired by Dark Tower, Fallout, and classic spaghetti western movies. Casey's always quoting like Magnificent Seven or Seven Samurai as a favorite movie. The world of the Badlands, there's kind of a major city called Threed that's run by an Amazon-esque type company called Jameson that discovered fire powder, which kind of runs the world and makes weapons. And then there's kind of this vast land that's the Badlands is outside of that. And then there's a far city on the other side called Echo. That's kind of like the chaos city that's kind of, the counterpoint to Threed's kind of corporate culture. And the story is 3 of us at a time. Spoilers. I've played 2 characters. Stump Steenling and then Wyatt Forsyth. He, God, I should have thought about this. I didn't think about this question at all.
Now you're on the other end of the interview. You see how it goes. Yeah.
What do we do?
My job is it's just to catch people off guard. So.
Yeah. We basically there is I'm trying to do it without too many spoilers. As we get launched in through on a train, our train gets we're all on a train going out into the Badlands, our 3 characters, and we all meet in a train car, and the train gets stopped and attacked, and through there we get kind of pulled into an ancient evil and capitalist hellscape that God, this sounds awful. I promise it's good.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's there's just
I like it when you're doing your own homebrew world and land and all you're playing by different rules because there's a billion and one Curse of Strahd podcast and every other published adventure, but you guys are working in this world that basically belongs to the DM, and I guess how much free reign does he give you to kind of add to the fiction of the world?
I think pretty big. I think there's a lot of the world that was created based on the characters and kind of the backstory and the character creation. So as you see here, Salome Breyer comes from a family of kind of folk healers that kind of travel out in the Badlands, and so that kind of influenced various factions out in the Badlands. Hayden is, what does that say?
Favorite Shape 15 bounty hunter.
Yeah, so Hayden is a shape-shifting bounty hunter back in Threed and grew up in this orphan organization called the Pipers that they started, and so how the Pipers integrates with the rest of Threed society. And Stump, this is kind of a spoiler, was a huge, basically part of a massive gang, and so that gang didn't exist from when I said it, and so, and then Wyatt is a little more or less Catholic child who is joining the journey, and so True Grit. That's a reference right there. It's the nice protagonist girl who was a religious person walking with one of those ornery Western people in the world. So it's a good movie. Both movies.
But Casey's set up all these hdifferent factions in the world and all these different does he have his own create his own monsters too? How deep does he go with the lore?
Yeah, so I mean, he said he has 126 pages of notes in a Word document that he's assembled. There are a few custom monsters. We had our body horror arc inspired by the Thing, kind of.
Okay.
Where he had these things called shamblers, where he created custom stat blocks by kind of merging several things together. He's made a couple magic items. It's the afterlife is different than, there's boy, I don't know how to talk about this without too many spoilers.
You don't have to. I think you've given enough. You've given enough.
Yeah,
you've given enough. It's a nice taste.
Yeah.
And the Badlands, by the way, also is in the Dark Tower series, and there's a train. So
Casey loves trains.
There's a So when you said that, I went, that's a, the reference is different. And I just want to touch on your accolades before we go on.
Oh, we don't have to do that.
No.
Award-winning podcast.
New Jersey Web Fest, Cusco Web Fest, LA Web Fest. You were nominated. That's because LA people are snobs. You didn't need to win there.
Well, that hasn't happened yet. They haven't announced.
Oh, sorry. You guys are awesome. These guys deserve the award. Crit Awards nomination, best one shot, and another for New Jersey Web Fest, another nomination.
So
good
I do want to talk about awards a bit because I have a complicated. Come on.
Go ahead, get it out of your system.
I have complicated feelings about about these award shows, and I think you probably do as well. And there's different kinds of award shows. Like there's like now like it seems like every continent has like 5 or 6 different web fests, which I think kind of dilutes it a little bit to me. I don't know. It's great. I would love to win an award. I loved it. We got nominated for a Crit Award last year. I absolutely love that. But like I have just complicated feelings about like, okay, is this what does it actually mean, and how much of it is like a popularity contest versus actual true. Like I'm walking. I'm walking.
The Crit Awards is absolutely a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Which it has its merits, and it kind of to it both, and has its cons. Firstly, Hayden is based on the idea of the man with no name. I see that comment that y'all put in there. So that was kind of the basis for the character Hayden was what is the idea of the man with no name?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Looking at the picture, makes sense.
But yeah, for us it's helped. Like as we try to kind of not legitimize, but just like as we try to grow, and for lack of a better term, earn the respect of larger people. It's helped immensely to say that people like what we're doing, whether that's from a jury from a webfest or having that one shot be nominated. But it is kind of weird. I don't know if Nathan and Sean, I don't know how much you're on Blue Sky or Twitter, but like I think Emily Friedman talks a lot about it, of like how particularly just posted like how do we have all these awards but we don't really have a rubric,
right?
Yes.
And it similar to kind of what my discussion with Kendo of like how can you take something like The Heart is a Dungeon, which is this very tightly edited, fully sound designed thing, and compare it to something that's a bunch of people around a table. Like they're just completely, it's apples and oranges. You can't compare one to the other.
To a rutabaga, there's no bar, and it's basically the bar for whatever. There's no benchmarks for whatever. I think what you're saying.
Incredibly arbitrary. And
the solution would be for us to develop our own game show and take game award show and take a look.
That's what I think has happened there with these web fests, and it's funny that somebody came onto the Crit Awards Discord to announce their own new award show, which I thought was like, what the fuck is that? Like
the choice.
Everybody was cool with it, but I was like,
I would have been cool with it.
Like I mean, I just have to say, wow, that's a thought, but
Sort of undermines the process, though. I think. I think it's still nice. To Max's point, I think it's very nice to get because it gives you validation. But
I love getting validated because like I what was the word? Not a imposter syndrome. I'm a walking case of imposter syndrome. That's the word I was trying to get out earlier.
Good.
But
it's a good word.
Yeah, and even things like the term sound design means different things in different contexts, because it's like like I went to audio school and I was trying to be Ben Burt, and he was a sound designer for Star Wars, and that's in a film context it means one thing, but in like a theater context that's a completely different role. Yeah. So it's like, okay, what do you mean by sound design? And I listened to something, it's like, well, okay, that sound design to me, but it's I have to kind of step back and say, okay, there's a billion different definitions. I don't own it, and it's you can call it whatever you want. So
yeah, well, Nathan, you're an expert. So,
but no, I'm just a guy. So
I'm just a guy with a keyboard and a soundboard.
It's definitely kind of it's all subjective. I mean, you even look at something like the Oscars, that you kind of you know what's going to win ahead of time, and it's not even like, for in my opinion, I love comedies, and like they're like the commitment that sometimes I'm gonna get, if my friends listen to this, they're gonna be like, that's stupid, but like I think Superbad is an unbelievable movie, and the performances for the most part are fantastic. Or like the 21 Jump Street, the performances they do are just as good. Maybe like some of the like production work isn't as good. I don't notice as some of the other stuff, but the fact that like some of those movies never get
comedies for years never got awards.
They won't even put them up for certain types of awards.
For years comedy. And then there's a time where like a certain type of fantasy or sci-fi wouldn't get on. And then like Gone with the Wind or something. And I truly believe it's just as hard to act in a Shakespearean play as it is like, okay, so I gotta act like a jackass, like a complete other jackass. Still fill a role, and you gotta make people believe you're a jackass.
Yeah, and no,
which is easy for me because I am a jackass, but not for somebody like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. So, but like being funny to like when you're doing I went to acting school both for undergrad and graduate school, and so like doing comedies there's no difference. And in your performance, you're just doing the words are what's different in the situation, but the internal stuff you're doing is no different.
I was
That's good to know.
And you look at a lot of the actors out there, and you look at the comedians, people that start out as comedians, and then they kind of move into acting, and they give you some of the
best,
most dramatic
Jim Carrey
roles.
Robin
Williams and Will Smith and Eddie Murphy's amazing. So it's wild that that the people that start out in comedy do really well with just as well with drama as they do with their comedy. So.
But I think a great example of kind of the other direction, kind of going from more dramatic history to comedy, is Ryan Gosling for Ken in the Barbie movie. Like the only reason he is so good is because he just fully, not even commits, because commit's such a vague word, but he fully believes everything he says as Ken. Like, and that's kind of just the most important part of acting, is like what the words you're saying are the truth to your character. And that's kind of the thing you can kind of apply to performing, like role playing. It's a little harder when you're improvising, but that's
I'm thinking what you're saying. So you go for years of acting, develop your skill and your style, and you're used to rehearsing your lines, being prepared for a scene, and then you walk in and you got to totally ad lib a whole episode of a show. Was that did you ever do like improv before, first like acting or comedy?
Yeah, I mean, I did it. I actually, I went to college in Chicago, and originally I wanted to go to Chicago to go to Second City and IO and do improv comedy. But I didn't end up doing it because there were a bunch of nerdy white guys in glasses that were already there. So I decided to do musical theater instead. But I done a little bit. We've all definitely done a little bit, but kind of as long as you know what your character would do and kind of what their tenets are in life, you can just kind of go with it. As well as if you don't, just take a second and pause and think about it, and you're pulling a speech out of your ass is kind of hard. Like Rowan recently rallied the Badlands to something, and they were kind of had some notes, but just pulled that out because they knew what their kind of the style of what they wanted their character to say, and were able to go in that direction.
Once in a while, one of us will have a moment of clarity where we'll do some great speech, right, Nathan? Once in a while.
Malcolm is somebody I can put on the spot anytime.
Oh my God.
And he will just. It's hard to get him to stop talking anyway, but he will just go on.
He's drinking.
Yeah. You say, hey, what is Malcolm? What's your character think about X, Y, and Z? And you'll get like a the king's speech, or
Like, you'll go over and like open a jar of mayonnaise. I grab
Mm-hmm.
the majestic bottle, turning it, opening it, seeing the
and
colorful lack of
Sean
color.
can't do it.
I can't do it. That's good. I'm trying to give the best example I can, but
Yeah,
we all
yeah.
decided that Malcolm has to do our eulogy. Just
Yeah,
because no matter how badly we die,
Mhm.
he'll make it sound epic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, he just like when my character, his character banter, he used eloquence, and I just used just blunt stupidity. It plays very well. Like, oh, my little friend, blah blah blah. Like, are you insulting me because I'm short? It's just that's it. That's all I say, or something like that. And then he goes on another soliloquy. It's a good banter. He's very
Yeah.
good at
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's also important as a player and role player of like knowing what your skills are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To be able to build a character around that. Wyatt is a very religious character, and I've kind of given myself a little bit of a trap because I'm not a religious person and wasn't raised overly religious. So I'm kind of sometimes pulling things out of my ass to create these moments. But knowing that, for instance, Stump is very short. He's a gnome. So like knowing that I enjoy physical bits of comedy in role playing, I've given myself that gift to be able to say, I want uppies to the other players because I'm this short character, or like I'm gonna bring someone down to my level physically. Yeah, I can uppies. Pick me up.
That's good. That's good.
And so yeah, I mean, knowing what your strength is that, if you're really good at kind of soliloquizing, go play a really intense paladin that's gonna rally everybody. And if you're not, play a barbarian that doesn't say a whole lot of words.
I think one of the skills that is good for just playing TTRPGs, but is something that's hard sometimes with actual play, is kind of basically highlighting somebody else's performance or setting them up
Yeah.
to deliver a scene, or just giving them the space, because we kind of all want to get our shots in, but it's that's the one thing I think we probably need to improve on, is really kind of giving each other space.
You'll have a pretty big cast though, right?
Well, yeah, I mean sometimes it's 8 people.
Oh yeah, that's just hard.
So, dude, some of us took a break just so we can give the game
Well-
masters a break.
Well,
'cause
it's that too, and we kind of, one of the challenges, like this is, I'm going to talk about our thing for just a tiny bit, but it's our Tuesday night game, and it was we started during the pandemic, and it evolved into the podcast. So for me, and I mentioned this at the beginning of our podcast to the listeners, like, the game comes first. We want to do stuff for the listeners and viewers, but it's our game first. So we treat it like our Tuesday night game. So if there's like one of the guys hasn't been able to come for a couple of months because of a job thing, and another one just had open heart surgery, so we let him have a pass for a few weeks. So there's life happens, and we still play the game. We just like, okay, they're just not here now, or somebody else plays their character, and with a lot of actual plays, that's a big no. You can't have just your cast missing. So
that's
I mean, but to compare it to the biggest, they did that on Critical Role. I was kind of listening. Ashley was filming. Travis and what's your face, Laura Bailey had a baby.
Yeah, that's
so like
true.
that, And let me tell you, the single best use of silence I've ever seen in my life to make that happen. At night they were sleeping, and Matt cast silence where they were, so they were able to sneak in. They didn't scream as they got kidnapped and got pulled away.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing I've ever seen. But that's kind of like with what Kendo and I talked about. It's just, that's exactly what you kind of want in a home style game. It's like, we're inviting you to our table in particular.
Yeah, if you do it right with the story, obviously you make it part of the story, and because I think part of reasons we're still doing this is And yeah, you'll see that with your group as well. You're doing it because you all enjoy doing it together. Yeah, you're actors, this and that, but you started doing it because it was fun. And if it doesn't become fun anymore, you're not going to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Like my reason was for bowing out had nothing to do with it was just for me. It was sort of workload and family load, and I'm doing this on Thursday. So I remember Nathan was worried a little bit about it. He asked me some questions. I said, "No, dude, I just need a refresh. I'm great in spring and summer. Fall and winter are horrible for me. And in our next live game, I'm actually jumping back in on it and trying and carry through the summer and do some more recordings." Because I love role playing. I love this too. I'm glad I can contribute to our podcast with this because me and Matt had actually been talking about it for a while. And I said, dude, I love to talk, man. I'll get on there. I mean, Nathan and Matt started the interviews in back alleys, and Nathan's very good at it. But I like to talk, and I can get people to talk, and it's not like a police interrogation talk. It's like, hey, how you doing? But I want to ask you one quick question. Where were you on Thursday night? Did you eat my yogurt? No.
We have a fucking "it's Thursday" phrase in our that we're going to put on a mug.
That's awesome. The one question I want to ask you, is have you guys thought about the future of different game systems? Because we cannot. Dragon Bane's the longest game we stuck with. It's like 50 sessions.
Yeah, 50.
50, right? Exactly. Good. Do you guys have thought about, when you get to the end of this story arc with this group of people you've created, you're going to try and stay with D&D or maybe like go to a different system just to flesh it out and see how it feels?
I think we've talked mainly about sticking with D&D for our full campaign because it's the system that we're all most comfortable with, which gives us the most, access, allows us to experiment with it the most and kind of help each other. But when we do one-shots and specials, we definitely try to explore other systems. So like that one shot that was nominated for Credit Award, I hate saying that, was we have a friend from My First Dungeon and Many Sided Media, Elliot, made this game, Welcome to the Silly Goose Convention, and it's a very rules light, very silly game that's what that was in. We have our Halloween special on the Cravenverse, which used both Kids on Bikes and Monsters of the Week.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to submit for the Kobold Press, creators scholarship sponsorship that they've got going on. So that will be Tales of the Valiant, which is very similar. I'd love to do Fabula Ultima on the podcast at some point, which is very inspired by JRPG video games.
Okay.
Like Final Fantasy, which I absolutely love. But so we try to get as many as we can on there, but due to just a comfortability, D&D is probably where it's going to stick.
Oh, and you guys are still in the beginning stages of this hopefully long life and process. I mean, you sounds like you're a great spokesperson for your group, by the way.
Thank you.
Say that. No, you are. You're great, and the Patreon site and the website are great. Makes us feel like we're losers because we haven't done this yet. And
we have a website. It's just Matt runs it.
Matt runs it. Yeah, Matt's made a PowerPoint.
Matt, you're doing great.
We love you, Matt.
He knows he's a Luddite, and it's just like this, like the Thursday night thing. I love that Matt and Sean do this for the most part because I don't have to edit it, which is awesome.
Yeah, I didn't. When one of the benchmarks for us was me, Matt. I said I don't want anything we have to edit. We should just go live. And the one thing I will say about SteamYard is it'll make clips for you. Now you can still make clips, but it'll generate clips for you to put up.
Nice.
Matt likes to do that. I'll let him do it because it gives me the option as well. But it's pretty good. It's a pretty good system. And if it actually makes it pretty easy live. It's easy to share screens and stuff. I'll say that because I am not tech savvy at this stuff. Anywho.
Personally, I like the audio format because I can look super schlubby while we're recording.
Look great.
The video is kind of reined us in a little bit. But, it's smart choice, but we're in it now. We can't back out. So
we are in. They get to see my fine pasty face and my ring camera. One day we'll all be. When we're millionaires, we can have artists. We can get makeup. And
we can all be Legos.
We'll all be Legos. But it doesn't matter for those old guys. You're right, Laura. It doesn't.
That's
Especially me.
my hot wife.
Yeah, that's your hot wife. You know what's funny? My hot wife has never listened to anything. I should listen. I was like,
Wow.
Well, at first she was worried because when we started this, my son was much younger.
Hmm.
I am very inappropriate at times. But I say, listen, the interviews are, for the most part, are pretty okay, I think. You know, and my kids watch Monty Python and stuff. So I think there's nothing on interviews that isn't over the top of that. But anywho, go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say, because my new character's a kid, we do content warnings every so often on our episode. And Rowan surprised me by putting child endangerment in the content warning. And it got me to laugh because I was like, of course I'm endangering a child.
Yeah,
and it was because someone else particularly killed the kid at me.
We are violating the law tonight. Welcome.
We do some content warnings, but we don't do enough because the kids are always in danger on our show. They're like always in danger.
I mean, it's certainly just finding the balance. You know, we certainly don't do it. We had someone reach out and there was a little bit of, I made something happened to Stump and I asked what it felt like. And then Casey goes, it feels really good. And I said, oh, like a gas station boner pill. And it made one person really uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah. And they reached out and said that it made them uncomfortable. So we've added kind of just like a sexual, we don't have sexual content, but like, you know, suggestive humor content warning when it comes up now.
So couple notes. Instead of content warnings when we started, we had our intro for, if you go back and listen to like Twilight 2000, the intro, we had this like kind of over the top, like kind of power metal song intro with Tony doing a voiceover that was sound like a monster truck rally type voiceover. And at the end, he just, is announcing the podcast and then just says assholes. And I figured, okay, if you get to that and you don't know what you're going to get from the rest of the show, then it's your own damn fault. So we put that intro to rest a long time ago, but I felt that was a good way to do a content warning. It's like, okay, this is, we're not safe for work.
So we worked with a great podcast, but a little too much cussing for me that one person said. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
You got that in my one of my best friends, his wife listened to a few episodes. His wife, who I set them up together because I used to date her like a million years ago. This is like over 30 years ago. She listens you guys are funny, but you're cursed like way too much. It was like, I'm sorry to lose you. It was like, I know we're not going to change it, so I'm, this is just not for you. It's okay. That's not.
It's Sean to stop cussing on the podcast.
It's also just, I mean, it's like about setting expectations. You know, like especially if you have something that kind of breaks from that expectation. Like we're not a very sexual podcast, but sometimes a joke makes it through.
Yeah, you're PG-13 versus R or whatever that night.
Yeah, we're a high PG-13. We got some gore in there. That's descriptive.
Yeah, you got a little blood and gore, so that ups you. You get up there. So we have reached the top, actually beyond the top hour. It's been a good match.
Real quick.
Yeah, man, it goes fast when you got a good guest, and you're a good guest.
Thanks.
So Max from Mage Hand High Five has been with us. Remember, folks, this is you can just do a search Mage Hand High Five. This will pop up, and their Patreon will pop up. Of course, hit us if you want to hit us up. That's great. So, Max, got anything you want to say in closing?
Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun. As an actor, please go support your local theaters. They all need it. And as we end our shows, hey, how about a high five?
High five. Yay. Thanks, Darcy. All right. And Nathan, you have it?
Yeah, I'm not gonna do what I did last time. Yeah, great having you on. Been following your posts on Blue Sky and other places for a while. Glad I got a chance to talk to you.
Yeah.
I have very little time to listen to other podcasts, so it kind of forced me to like listen and I like what you're doing. Keep doing it, and tell Rowan they're doing a great job. So
Will do.
my compliments to the chef.
All right, guys. Well, everybody, thank you, and I wish you all the best. Sleep peacefully, and good night and good luck. Goodbye. I can't end the stream.